Kia ora tamariki mā. This is a little writing lesson for those experts who have watched Mrs. Cran reading the story by Jill Eggleton called Molly Mooloo. So this is a little challenge for you. Some of you may have learnt how to do this in your classroom with your teacher, and for others this might be your first time. So today we are going to be writing about that story, so make sure you've watched the video first. And we are going to be learning how to sequence our picture plan today. So these are the things you need to know. First of all, sequencing our picture plan, the reason we do this is so that it will help you to retell a story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, so these are the things you're going to need to do to be successful today in your writing. So the success criteria for today's learning intention is to make sure you draw a grid in your picture plan. So your picture plan needs to look like this. It needs to have 3 boxes labeled 1, 2, and 3. And that's where you're going to draw your picture plan today. You also need to have 3 sentences in your writing today, and your 3 sentences need to match those pictures. The first sentence needs to match the picture in this box, the second sentence needs to match the picture in this box, and the third sentence needs to match the picture in this box. So those are your success criteria. And then you need to be able to look at your writing and look at your picture plan, and you need to be able to tell if you've been successful. So the things that you are going to be able to see in your work today, you will see a grid with numbers 1, 2, and 3 with your pictures in them. And you will also see these 3 words: first, then, last. Now those 3 words are going to be in your writing today, so have a little think about where they might come. What order might those words come in your sentence? So make sure your first sentence has one of those words, your second sentence has another one of those words, and your third sentence has another one of those words. So those are the things you are looking for today in your writing when you are all finished. So I'm going to go away now and I'm going to do my picture plan. I'm going to sequence it, and then I'm going to write my 3 sentences. And when you come back for the next part of the video, we're going to have a look at my writing and we're going to assess that, and you can help me do that. So make sure you watch Mrs. Cran's video first of Molly Mooloo, and then you can get started on your writing. Make sure that when you've finished your writing and you've finished editing your writing, which I will help you do in the next part of the video, make sure mum or dad take a photo of it and send it to your teacher. Okay, I'll come back really soon. Welcome back to the second part of this writing challenge. So you would have spent some time thinking about the story called Molly Mooloo, and you would have sequenced your picture plan into 3 sections, a beginning, a middle, and end, and you would have written your 3 sentences by now. So for this part of the video, we're going to work together to assess my writing. So first of all, let's think about what we were learning to do today. Do you remember? Yeah, we were learning to sequence our picture plan. Why are we learning to do that? It's important that we know why. And the reason we're learning to do that, so that we can match our writing to each picture with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Okay, so when we assess our writing, we need to read it back to check that it makes sense, okay? And we also need to be thinking about all those things that we have to remember in our writing every time we write, okay? Here's a little reminder. Remember, have a look up the top here. We need to be making sure that we are thinking and have included all these things in our writing today. So we're looking for capital letters at the beginning of each sentence, full stops at the end of each sentence, finger spaces between each word, making sure that we're listening to the beginning, middle, and end sounds of those My Try words. Make sure we're looking at our word cards to help us with our writing, and making sure that we're reading it as we go and at the end to check it makes sense, okay? And don't forget, Down the bottom here, underline your My Try words. Okay, so let's go back to Miss Smith's writing. Can we make sure we can see it? Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to read the first sentence to you, and then I want you to listen, think about whether it makes sense, have a look at it, and see if you think I've missed anything out. Okay, so it starts off with the beginning. Okay, we've got to make sure it matches this picture. Here is a picture of Molly Mooloo, and she's running out of the gate. In the story, Molly Mooloo wanted to go on an adventure. So that's the first part of my story today. That does sound right, but if I remember back to our success criteria, I had to make sure to be successful, I needed to make sure that I had this word first. So if this is my first sentence for the first part of the story, I needed to have that word in the sentence, and I don't think I did. So let's go back and see if we can edit it. Okay, I've got my highlighter here, and hopefully this will stand out for you. In the story, Molly Mooloo wanted to go on an adventure. So I need to have that word first included in there somewhere. So let me think. In the first part of the story, does that make sense? So I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to write that up here. In the first part of the story, Molly Mooloo wanted to go on an adventure. Now that's quite hard for you to see, but I've written it in a different colour for me so that I can see where I've done my editing, okay? So you'll need to do the same. If you've written your writing with pencil, find a different colour or a highlighter or a coloured felt for your editing part, okay? And then it'll stand out nice and clear for you. Okay, let's move on to the next part of my sentence. So I have a look at my picture plan for part 2, and this is the part where all the animals reach the city, and it's really smoky and there's lots of cars and motorbikes and trucks. So that's the part in the middle of my story. So I've got to check now that my sentence is going to make sense. We're up to assessing that second sentence. Now, I've managed to get a different colour vivid, so I think it will show up a bit better for you watching at home. Okay, so we got to the end of our first sentence, and we knew that was the end because there is a full stop there. Now, let's carry on. She went to the smoky city with the horse, bull, and sheep. I can see some things that don't quite make sense, or some areas where I've missed out some punctuation. So I am going to reread it again and see if I can edit my writing. So I needed to make sure, let's go back to this. I needed to make sure I included the word then in my second sentence. Where could I have done that? I think that needed to go right at the beginning of that second sentence. So after this full stop, I needed to give a big capital T for then. Then she went to the smoky city with the horse, bull, and sheep. And that's when I need to have a breath. So I'm going to add a full stop there. I think that sounds better. I noticed that when I was reading this part here, I needed to take a little breath with the horse, comma, bull, and sheep. There we go. That sounds a lot better. I'm sure for a reader, that would make more sense to them as well. So I'm going to continue to edit my last sentence now. So I'm going to look at my picture plan, and I've drawn a picture of the part with the helicopter and the big crate that was used to pick up the animals and take them back to the farm. And I've written the names of all the animal characters in the story here. So I need to make sure that the last sentence of my writing is going to match this part of the picture plan. So let's check. Okay, we've put a full stop. So we now need our next word to have a capital letter, but let's check that it's going to make sense. In the last part, the helicopter rescued the animals. Well, that sounds about right to me, but I can see that after I put my full stop here, my next word needed to start with a capital letter. That's right. So I'm going to edit that lowercase I and turn it into a capital I. In the last part, the helicopter rescued the animals. Does that make sense? Does it match the third part of my picture plan? Yes, it does. So I've now edited my writing. So that's what you're going to have to go away and do now. You might need some help. You might need either an older brother or sister or your mum and dad to help you with the editing part of your writing. Have a go by yourself first. And if you're having a little bit of trouble, then ask for some support with that, okay? Just like you would in the classroom with your teacher. Okay, so don't forget also, when you're doing your editing, when you're self-assessing your writing, make sure that you have done all of these things up here, okay? Good luck. I hope you've had fun and I hope you found this a challenge. That was the aim of the game today with your writing. And I look forward to making another writing video for you in the future.